We've got a facilitator, Greg Toland, who you've already met this evening. I'll hand the microphone now to Greg.
Okay, thanks everybody. Rules of the game. We do have a number of prepared questions. Those will be asked. We'll pick up questions, other additional questions as we go along. Can I please emphasise no national party politics, please. This is about local issues. That's what everyone, I believe, here wants to talk about and hear the answers. So that goes to the floor. That also goes to the table, please. And to start off, can I ask Mike Atherton? And we have a secondary mic. And go ahead with it.
Okay. Thank you. My question is, why is Telford and Wrekin determined to destroy the market town of Newport through unnecessary and inappropriate overdevelopment?
Would you like to take that one?
Well, thank you. We're not going to destroy Newport. Telford and Wrekin Council is not going to destroy Newport. We are in fact going to get some more jobs into the town. We're going to do planned development and proper development around the town, and as I said earlier, these developments are put forward by private people who've got the land there, and it is land that they want to build on. But we do have an open space strategy, we do have a building space strategy, and this comes within that. So, but that will give people a place to live in Newport, to work in Newport, and to spend the money they earn in Newport.
Thank you. I think the first thing I'd say, to emphasise what you've already heard, the planning applications that have been received in relation to Newport are submitted by private sector developers. The Council's local planning authority has no choice other than to determine those planning applications. The residential applications that have been considered so far are consistent with the Council's core strategy. The developments are providing or potentially will provide needed affordable houses. The reports that were presented to the Council's Plans Board set out the reasons why the applications were being recommended for approval very clearly. And I think the main point I would say is there were no justifiable reasons for refusal. I think if you look at the context in which planning authorities are working and the pressure that is provided by government advice and policy, the expectation is that local planning authorities will approve planning applications. They'll approve them more quickly than has been the case in the past, and will only be able to refuse applications where there are justifiable reasons. And in the case of the applications determined so far, in my opinion, that is not the case. And if you look more closely then at the residential applications, the one at Grove Farm was sent to the Secretary of State for information, and he chose not to call it in. The Audley Avenue application, residential application, would be similarly sent to the Secretary of State. It's up to him to decide whether he calls it in or not. But if you look at the decisions that are being made around the country, I'm not certain on what basis you would expect the applications to be changed by a Secretary of State.
Thank you, Michael. Mark would like to respond to that.
I just wanted to say that I hope we'll get to the position, notwithstanding the core strategy, when applications that are clearly overdevelopment and inappropriate don't actually make it to the planning committee. Never mind who decides this, that and the other, whether it's Secretary of State or local planning inspector, etc., which of course all costs taxpayers money. But what I wanted to comment on overdevelopment is the residential overdevelopment. And Charles earlier mentioned about affordable housing. But the fact is that the majority of people that will go into any affordable housing are not local people. And I've always taken the view, it's just my personal view, that there should be a mandatory requirement for any affordable housing to go to local people first. Now, I don't have an issue with people coming from Birmingham or Wolverhampton or wherever, because there's quite a few Wolverhampton people here I recognise, and people move around in the West Midlands. But it's not just that. People are coming from further afield to go into affordable housing, and even if it was Birmingham or Wolverhampton, not, with the greatest respect to my Wolverhampton friends, I think in Newport it should be Newport people first. But that is not the case. So I think it would be more convincing if that was the case. That's the first point. Secondly, and briefly, the other thing is that there are often developers that are required to give over a certain percentage of any new development for affordable housing, whether it be 25% less or more, and that's becoming a little bit more flexible. The trouble is that when a developer, let's say, sells a unit for £80,000 to a housing trust, so often the housing trust will put it up to £120,000, the average price of the house being probably about £150, still call it affordable, but still charging people who are on very low incomes or public sector workers that don't have high incomes, firemen, nurses, actually making money on the backs of people that actually can't afford it. So affordable housing is not all it seems, both on who's in the housing and the price at which the housing is sold. And I think until we have these issues resolved, we look at this and we observe this with a pinch of salt. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Right, if we can now move on to Alison. Where's Alison sitting? It's all right. I'll take the mic over, don't worry.
Telford and Wrekin describe themselves as a cooperative council. A cooperative council is supposed to listen to its residents. Why are Telford and Wrekin ignoring what its residents are saying, including the local Labour group in Newport, as Telford and Wrekin is a Labour-controlled council, yet it's not listening to its own members?
Thank you. I think this is one for you, Charles.
Telford and Wrekin Cooperative Council, yes it does, and we do listen to people, but which ones do we listen to? No, it's a serious question. It's a serious question. There's 12,000 people live in Newport, and there's a large proportion of people in Newport who don't have housing, affordable housing, and that's the point. Who do we listen to? The people who, the people who shout the loudest, or the ones who are the silent majority? As a council, we have to weigh it up, and that's what we do, and that's what we're doing. And we do need to make certain that we have enough housing and affordable housing for the people of Newport who want to live in Newport to live in. All the people don't come from outside to take affordable housing. There's quite a lot in Newport where we need affordable housing for them, and that's what these plans are about. So we do listen, but we listen also to the silent majority.
It sounds like there's a couple of follow-up questions that people might like to ask on that one. One over there, please.
If I could, Charles, I'm slightly puzzled. My name's Katie Foster. What you're saying is that you listen to the people who don't say anything, as opposed to the people who do. And if I could just illustrate that, to my knowledge, every organisation from Newport and the surrounding parishes, so that's Newport 21, Newport Regeneration Partnership, the Chamber of Trade, all the various bodies that are interested in the future of Newport, have all, including the Newport Town Council itself, which is perhaps the democratic face, have all objected and are supporting the notion of proportionate, sustainable development. So what you're saying is that their opinion doesn't count.
Katie, you know me better than that. I actually said we have to take account of the silent majority, and they are the silent majority. We have to take up everybody's needs, and we do listen to what he's saying. We listen to objections, but we have to weigh those with the people who can't be bothered to object sometimes, can't be bothered to say anything at all, and also come along saying we need houses, we need to live, and where we're going to do it. And that's what it's about. It is sustainable developments, and these will be sustainable developments, and they will provide jobs, and they will provide prosperity to the town, and it will work out that way. But Katie, we do listen, but we have to take account of the silent majority.
Thanks, Giles. Councillor Meredith.
Yes, Charles. My a couple of questions here. That you speak about the silent majority. How many of those, shall we say, silent majority, the people who didn't object, have written in to support this application, compared to the people that have written in objecting to it, and to the people that are here this evening? That's one of my questions. The second question, you talk about the people who can't be bothered to object. Or is it the case that they think it's a waste of time? Just for the record, Market Drayton, as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, has 31 empty shops in its town centre. In the 4 streets that form the town centre of Market Drayton, there are 31 empty shops. I'm a Market Drayton person. I was born in Market Drayton. I've lived in Newport for 25 years. But I'm in Market Drayton most days since I have a business connection there. So I do know. And that is totally and completely as a result of Morrison's supermarket opening